Ni hao, hello, good day. Uh, Thank you for coming today to SFC Global 2019. And thank you for being here today to attend my presentation about the favorite fertilizer for African market. And I apologize for not being able to fly to Beijing and come to the conference as of several health issues related to myself and my father. African fertilizer market is one of the most important market globally, with the fastest growing population on earth, thanks to its favorable location and abundant access to feedstock. Its economic development has accelerated in the years following 2000, making it the world's second fastest growing region, especially in recent years after Chinese investments. In, uh, in this histogram or this graph, we can easily see that Africa is representing 19.7% of the of the global market, and actually of the growth of the global market and the increase of the global market from 2014 to 2018. And that is just second to East Asia. Africa has potential to become a major fertilizer market. The region is endowed with mineral reserves of several plant nutrients. The pace and diversification of Africa's food needs will require the region's farmers to increase agricultural production and yields, which boost fertilizer demand. Otherwise, the continent's economic growth potential will remain stunted. Also here we can see that Africa is have the largest increase in phosphate consumption. When we talk about phosphoric acid as B2O5, Africa is 37.4% of the global increase is going to Africa from year 2014 and 2018. Africa continues to offer perhaps the greatest growth opportunities with regards to fertilizer consumption, but faces obstacles that hamper its potential. The largest consumers of fertilizers in Africa are Egypt and South Africa. Fertilizer consumption growth is expected to be modest in the near term, mainly attributed to significant socio-economic difficulties that many of the large economies on the continent are facing. In most African countries, the extension of agriculture requires deforestation of large areas, which will cause unfavorable climatic changes. We have to increase fertilizer input to increase production instead of deforesting larger areas. Here, farmers are trying to use foliar spray to optimize their fertilization in some African countries. Challenges and opportunities. There are significant obstacles that hamper the African market potential, which could be broadly divided into three groups: market development, technical, and infrastructure constraints. The in-depth discussion on these constraints lead to the following conclusions. From market development constraints, it is emphasized that the policy environment in Africa remains uncertain, human capital is lacking certain expertise and skill sets, access to finance and market information is limited, and the enforcement of regulation is ineffective. From technical constraints, we conclude that poor knowledge of farmers in Africa regarding the correct use of agricultural inputs is a serious problem constraining consumption growth. And from infrastructure constraints, the most significant is rural road networks in Africa, which require urgent improvement. The Belt and Road Initiative is helping a lot in this matter. It is clear that the demand of it is clear that the demand growth for fertilizer in Africa is much dependent on how the challenges described earlier are being addressed. This is different from other continents, where fertilizer demand growth is mainly correlated to population and economic development. Actually, we can't see that in developing countries or actually more developed regions. As such, demand growth forecasts will have to consider a range of different assumptions, which may not be so important in other continents. Opportunities for growth, the Belt and Road Initiative, can only be materialized if certain aspects are successfully combined to support the latent growth potential of the African fertilizer market. Develop big business linkages with importers in coastal countries. Improve regional trade cooperation. Realize the economic of scale. Improve access to finance. Improve infrastructure and transportation arrangements. Increase private sector involvement. And as in Africa, we have the opportunity to start in a virgin land, we have to start also with the optimum eco-friendly technologies and the optimum technology of that we have today. Internet of Things, IoT development solution that can cover several aspects of developing agriculture, telecom, smart cities, automation, smart energy that actually can help fast growing agriculture in an accurate and economic way in Africa. Internet of Things in agriculture and fertilizer has opened up extremely productive ways to cultivate soil and raise livestock, and also to ensure optimum application of fertilizer based on soil analysis and soil data. With the use of cheap, easy to install sensors and an abundance of insightful data, farmers now can improve the plant harvest process, also production process, irrigation, and fertilization. Those are some kind of IoT agriculture and fertilizer solution that and some example of sensors that can be used in livestock, in mapping, remote sensing of different aspects, and actually also smart logistic and warehouses, productive analysis for crops in climate monitoring, remote crop monitoring, of course, that is very useful in storing, applying fertilizers to different kind of plants and crops. Well, Africa. Soil is the real wealth of Africa. Yes, several countries have went advanced in agriculture before Africa. United States of America, North America, Europe, China, and different countries of Asia have started agriculture and applying chemical fertilizer way before Africa. So many mistakes have happened all over the world, lead to having destroying the soil and lead to degradation of soil quality. Well, in Africa, we have a chance to start eco-friendly way from beginning. Other developed countries have the chance to, correct the mistakes they have done. In Africa, soil is the real wealth. We have to be very careful when we are using it. Examples of some harmful effects of chemical fertilizer. Chemical fertilizers have aided farmers in increasing crop production since the 1930s, while chemical fertilizers have their place increasing plant nutrients in adverse weather conditions or during times when plants need additional nutrients. There are also several harmful effects of chemical fertilizers. Some of the harm chemical fertilizers may cause waterway pollution, chemical burn, chemical burn to crops, increased air pollution, acidification of the soil, and mineral depletion of the soil. This is a very simple comparison between eco-friendly fertilizers versus other fertilizers for farmers. For example, chemical fertilizers. Eco-friendly fertilizers, it has no residual effect, while other fertilizers would have residual effect, and it is expected to have so. Eco-friendly fertilizers doesn't need high accuracy from farmers when used, while other fertilizers needs very high accuracy when used. No harmful effect if used more than needed, of course with a limit when we are talking about eco-friendly fertilizer, while in other fertilizer, harmful effect may occur when used more than needed, like poisoning. In different kind of chemical fertilizer would, you need to apply accurate amount, otherwise you lead to poisoning the plant. In eco-friendly fertilizers, it is effective if used less than recommended because eco-friendly fertilizers are more resistant to environmental conditions, so it still can supply the plant with nutrients, even applied less than recommended. While in chemical fertilizer, if applied less than recommended, it would be leached, fixed, or evaporated, leaving nothing to the plant. The favorite fertilizer. The favorite fertilizer that we look for African market is the economical, eco-friendly fertilizer used for sustainable improvement of soil fertility and balanced supply of plant nutrients to produce optimized quality food and improves human health. When we are applying fertilizers in Africa, we have to make sure we are doing balanced fertilization and we are actually completing what the plant needs and missing from the soil. Otherwise, if we do not look to this balanced fertilization between the 16 nutrients and macro and micronutrients, we will be either getting poisoning from excess application of certain nutrition that would harm the plant and lead to unfavorable condition in the soil and also in the human health. And also unbalanced fertilization would lead to deficiency of some nutrients that make the plants weak from resisting potential diseases or insects and also make it not balanced for human health. The favorite fertilizer from Gizatec. Gizatec innovative fertilizers work to develop agricultural environment and maximize the need of using fertilizers through unlocking the natural soil fertility using Agrite, the natural soil amendment that help the crop to uptake the necessary nutrients, adding the necessary balanced nutrients with V-Grow, the highly effective organic-based plant nutrients. Sheshe, and thank you very much for listening and hope to see you soon. Please, if you have any question, send to my WeChat ID, Gizatec. You can also, for you who have the ability to access other social media like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, you can easily find us on the addresses you can find below. You can also email me at mohammed@gizatec.com. Thank you very much, Sheshe, and looking forward to see you soon.